Evening, as promised, we're at Overstrand. I've just drawn and I've got peg 1, which is right up the other end, west end of the beach, and there's Cromer Pier if you can see it in the distance. So 21 here tonight. It's been a couple of days of really rough weather, and we've just got white water out there in front of us, so it'll be interesting to see whether we do any good. But yeah, down to my right, Neil Rowe, so he can cast, so I think you're going to have to tonight. Tactics are simple. It's going to be a clip down, smacked as far as you can, and hopefully there'll be a bass or a flounder. This beach can be brilliant at times of the year. Smooth hounds, you can get thornback rays, bass, flounders, Dover sole. If it had been calm tonight, I think I'd have liked to have had a go for a decent Dover sole, but I think bass and flounders if we're lucky, but hopefully someone will at least catch something. So a rig for the evening is going to be a pulley pennel. I think they're size 1/0s or something like that, and they clip down behind this breakaway imp clip, and that should cast a fair way. I don't think we're going to be getting doubles and triple shots tonight, so if something hangs itself on that, that'd be good. They're not overly big hooks, you could use a lot bigger, but I'm always hopeful for the chance of a Dover sole. I love them things, so that's why I stick on the small side, just in case. But yeah, standard. I think there's about 75 worms in there. I dug them this morning, so they should be alright. We won't need lugworms for much longer. Well, we still take a few, but the fish baits come into their own in the winter. But for tonight, with a few bass potentially on the cards for someone who's got a decent peg with some in, lugworms will catch the fish. So hopefully I'll at least manage to catch one. But yeah, after last week, I'm not even sure that's going to happen, but we'll see. So for those that are interested, the top of that pulley pennel is, you've got your link swivel there, and then there's just a white bit of plastic tube there, and then it's loop to loop, and what that does is create a bit of a standoff boom that never tangles. That works really well. That's still £60 line for the snood and £60 line for the main trace. I've tried all different ways, but it saves on a swivel, and as I say, that loop to loop bit there, that just acts like a little bit of a boom, tries to hold it away from the main body. But yeah, I've always used that, well, in recent years anyway, so it seems to work all right when the fish are there. About 10 minutes to kick off. White water rolling in from miles out. I hope there's a bass in that surf. A couple of the anglers further down the beach have had some practice casts and reeled in weeds, so I hope that's not Heach and revisited, because that would be bad news. But yeah, we just want a nice easy night tonight, not dragging tons of red weed out the water, but we won't know till we put in. But I've got time for a cup of tea, so that's good news. Right, I've skulked over to Neil to see what he's using. So he's gone 3 clip down, and that is a very fancy operation going on there. Beads and sequins and all sorts of stuff. So Neil, what do you think we're going to catch? Find him.
You would hope in that surf that there's going to be a little bass or two in there. Flounders.
Or nothing.
Or nothing, yeah. Or lots of weed, we'll see.
Let's investigate his bait. Lugworms, so he's obviously going for a bass and a flounder, but sneaking away there, he's got a box of squid, so that could work well. Very neat and tidy tackle box. I ain't going to show you mine because that's a disgrace. But yeah, it looks alright. There's a little bit of a bar showing up. We'll be able to get across onto that in a minute. So, and then hopefully there's a little bit of water a bit further out. It doesn't look too bad, so you know, we have got a chance. But then I think that every week, and we know how that goes. So anyway, I better walk back to my own peg, leave Neil alone. So that's what the business end looks like. So we're not messing about. We are putting quite a bit of bait on there, compacting it down, clipping it behind the weight, and we're just going to smack it out there as far as we can, and hopefully trip up a flounder or something. They're quite short as pennel rigs go. This one's about 18 inches long, but I find fishing out there in stuff that resembles a washing machine probably a bit less likely to tangle, I don't know. But yeah, whatever gives you confidence at the end of the day, innit? Well, I've had my first cast and no weed, so that's brilliant. Remnants of bait on the hooks as well. It's been washed out, been out there about 15 minutes, but yeah, that's not too bad. If there's a bit of bait on the hooks after 15 minutes and there's no weed on the line, chances of a fish look a little bit more likely. It's actually getting dark now, so we'll be clipping the headlight on shortly. But yeah, as I said, there's 21 of us here tonight, and there might already be fish getting caught further down the beach. You don't know until you get back into the car park. They're a competitive bunch, but they'll all spill their secrets when we get back up into the car park. So I will know who's done what and how, and that's what helps you at the end of the day. But yeah, we fish mostly in the dark, so apart from Neil next to me, I'm not going to know anything that's going on. So you just have to have a go and see if your plan works out. It's not like daylight fishing where you can look down the beach and see what everyone's doing. You haven't got a clue. So like last week, Roger was next to me and it was quite obvious what was happening, but you still don't know what's happening 200 or 300 yards away. So yeah, that's it though, that's what we do. We've had 2 or 3 casts now and it's not produced anything other than one great big ball of weed. Down to my left, they haven't caught anything either. There's this bank that's emerged, so we'll be able to get over that and get a bit closer to the water to cast in a minute. So that'll help, because the wind's pushing the tide, is holding the tide up and it's running up the beach. So what would normally be 100 yards out into the water, because that's pushing up 60 yards, you're only really in 40 yards where you'd normally be. But that's still deep enough to catch a fish, there's no excuses. But as yet I haven't done. But yeah, you look down there, that looks incredibly good for a bass, so perhaps when it gets dark we might be in, but only time will tell. And yeah, all the time they haven't caught anything down there, we're still in with a chance. Right, I brought you back because this is the channel that never lets you down. Well, it does really, doesn't it? But I have caught the target species for the night, and it's a bass, and it is the smallest one I've ever caught. It is 11 centimetres. Fair and square. Caught it in the mouth, a long way out on a bait that was bigger than the fish, well, by quite a way actually. But at least it proves there's something in the sea, and I haven't blanked, even though it doesn't count on the scorecard. So I'm going to leave him in the bucket of water for 5 minutes. He's going to get his breath back, and then we're going to go and put him back in the sea. So yeah, hopefully they'll get a bit bigger. But we're about an hour and a half in. There's no weed, so I'm optimistic. Well, I've just put that little bass back, that tiny little one, and got to the rod and a massive slack liner. So I've reeled it in, and I've got another bass. This one's a bit bigger, so let's just see if that one's going to be big enough to count. There he is. I'll put it down on the floor, it'll be easier to try not to get hooks stuck in me at the same time. I think it's a good one. That's gone over the rule, I think. Snout's on there, no. There he is. So he's going to go 45. So I can go across now and get, well, he might go 46 because his face wasn't on the top, but yeah, that's a cracking fish. So beauty. So now we are up and running, and that was as far out as I can physically whack a bait. We've got about an hour and a half left now. We fished all over the bottom of the tide, and so we're coming up to the first of the flood, and that can be a good time. I've got the bait, there's no crabs here, hardly any weed at the moment, So I've doubled my efforts on the lugworm front, loaded right up now, get loads of scent in the water, and hopefully we'll catch something. There's been a few fish caught along there. Roger, who won last week at Heacham, he's got an eel, and I think probably a bass as well, so he's doing all right. Neil next to me, unfortunately, he ain't caught anything yet. But yeah, with this last hour of the flood to go, we'll see if we can do any good. A tragedy has occurred, and I have caught an eel. That's an eel in that ball there, and he has mashed my trace, and now I've got to try and sort it out. But I'll get 25 points for that, I think, so not all lost, but now I've got some sorting out to do because he has wrecked it. Well, I'm sad to report I'm going to have to sacrifice another trace because I've caught another eel. So to get him back in good condition, I've got to cut all the line, get the hooks out, and then the eel will be fine. But every time I seem to catch one of them, well, it's not me, it's them. They wreck the terminal tackle, so you have to start again. But at least it's a fish. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think this match is going to be one with codling. I haven't caught any, obviously, but down to my right there's at least two, and the big casters will have found them at range. So that's amazing, because the last few years that's been a bit barren, but there seem to be a few about now, so there's probably never been a better time to go after one. Still, we've got about 20 minutes, half an hour left, time for a couple more casts, so we'll get the bait in the water and see what happens. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left, and the weed now, first of the tide, and the weeds come through, and that's clogging everything up. But it's been a good evening, not too bad, it's not cold or anything like that, it's all right. But I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much. When I left the house, 205 people had pressed subscribe, and I don't think it means that much, but for me it makes a difference to whether I can be bothered or not, because at least I think I'm doing it for some sort of purpose, and it gets people out on the beaches, and that helps the angling club, so that's all good. So thanks very much. But yeah, we're down to our last cast now. If this is full of weed, then that'll be it. But I don't think we've done any good out of the 21 that have fished. I don't think we've come anywhere, but you just got to keep plodding along. Next week is Sheringham. That's a venue I've not done very well with historically, but we'll go there anyway, weather permitting. And yeah, that's the next match. So we'll go up in the car park after this, and we'll see who's caught what.
5 Andy Turk, 1 fish 16 weight points, some real high scores in here. 4th John Spalton, well done John, 2 fish 23 points. 3rd Steve Medler, 2 fish 69 points. I think basically very greedy. And 2nd place Pete Simmons, otherwise known as Pond Pete. Have you got that video, dog?
Yeah.
3 fish 148. And in the 1st place on my right hand side, 3 fish 163, Roger Cunnington.
Roger, 2 on the trot.
Biggest flat, Steve Medler with a 26 centimetre flounder.
Congratulations,
Steve.
Deja vu there.
Yeah, I never thought that would happen again. Right, and the biggest round, can you turn your camera around the other way, for a 46 centimetre bass, Pond Pete.
Well done, Pete.
Thank you very much.
There's your winnings, look.
Cheers. Ta.